When he pulls away, what to do. That's the essence of this video. So what would it be like when he pulls away if you were able to communicate with him, hey, it seems like you're taking some space and I want you to know I'm on your side. So let me know when you want to come back into connection. I'll be here. Take the space that you need, or it would really help me to know when we are going to come back into connection. Is it possible, if you know, that you could let me know? And if you don't know, perhaps there's a time that you'd be willing to communicate with me, right? Now, I'm saying that second bit because sometimes when a guy, let's just say he's kind of maxed, he's kind of stressed and he wants to go empty and he wants to be in solitude, right? It might not be his first thought at that time. I know when I want to come back into connection, right? So if you were able to trust that his taking space will lead to him coming back into connection, right? And you might need to have a few experiences of that to trust it. And if it's not happening, I'm not asking you to trust it. I'm not trying to have you disavow your experience. But let's just say you have had some experiences of him taking some time and then he actually does want to come back into connection. Then you may also be able to learn how to trust that that is what's happening and that perhaps you don't actually need to know the specifics in the way that you thought, right? Now, this is a tricky edge because it might be what he needs and what you need are a little different, right? Maybe you do need to know. Maybe it kicks up your anxiety so much that you actually need to know, like 5 p.m. tomorrow, we are going to be hanging out, right? So this is a kind of thing that you want to discuss with him, ideally not at the time when he's max stressed and about to take space, right? That's probably going to lead to rupture and conflict. What you want to do is have that conversation at a time when you guys are regulated and spacious, and you can talk about things and say, hey, when you want to step into space, can we just talk about how that happens and if there's any things that we can do that make that mutually better for us? If you set that up, then that might be what gives you the security. But I'm suggesting if there were a way that if, just like I talked about the ebb and flow of connection, right? That we can trust that no connection is going to be connected all the time. Someone's going to have times where we feel a bit disconnected. Someone's going to have times where neither of us actually wants to put attention on connection. If you know that the right guy pulls away and comes back into connection, and that is just going to be part of the rhythm, even if it's a bit frustrating or fear-making for you, the more you can kind of get with that program, the better your relationship, I think, is going to be. Because it's a little bit like getting with reality, right? Just like he knows that that's going to be part of things, you know that's going to be part of things. So let's get with that and have the agreements, the conversations we need to have, but we're not trying to fundamentally change that. Right? Because for you to have the experience that he never pulls away to feel safe, you've now probably got a neutered guy, right? A guy that's not actually honoring what his masculine essence needs, what some of his truest needs are, that maybe he's doing it to please you, maybe it feels a little bit safer to you, but maybe you actually then lose the potency of this guy, right? That you want to sometimes feel his passion, his initiation, his strength. And that's going to be less likely if he doesn't have some time where he's actually solitude, contemplating, reflecting, being on his own energy, right? So I'm saying, get curious about what it would take for that to feel more okay with you. Now, obviously, and just to make it crystal clear, I'm distinguishing this from the guy that pulls away and never comes back into the same level of connection, right? Like we've been communicating a lot for a couple of weeks, then he pulls away for 2 weeks and you don't hear from him, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to give you the exact amount of time that is okay for a guy to pull away and come back into connection because it's going to vary so much guy to guy, and it's also going to vary what your level of tolerance is, right? So I'm not trying to disavow your needs in this. I'm just saying every guy will withdraw, every guy will pull away. So the question is, can the right guy come back into connection? And the question is, can we find a way to play that he can support you in your needs and you can support him in his, right? For a lot of guys, that need to pull away, it's going to be not just hours, right? It might be that they need to take a whole afternoon and an evening. It might be that they need 1 day a week, that they're just on their own time. If you have a family, maybe that's not possible. But, just knowing that sort of in the essence is something that a lot of guys may want, might just make it easier for you to be like, okay, this is like oxygen, it's a need, we've got to figure this out, right? So when he pulls away, that's not the time to have the conversation. It's to actually be with what conversation do we need to be in before that happens so that we can start to cultivate some kind of shared space. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is sometimes when he pulls away, you might have a habit of, that's when you test him, right? That's when you suddenly develop a crisis, or there's some particular thing you really need to help him with. And if that's going on, right, it's okay to test him sometimes, right? It's kind of like your safety system, your alarm system, you want to test it occasionally. But also just notice, right? There may be a time that you can test him that doesn't have to be when he's, really needing that time and really needing to restore, right? If he's your guy, he may be able to at times say, I need that, but also I'm going to come and attend to you, right? But I'm just saying, again, another way that you can support him is not to create a rupture or a conflict or a problem just at that moment of pulling away, particularly if where that's coming from is your anxious attachment. Right? Now, again, I'm not making you wrong for that. That's going to be real. And in the right partnership, you're going to want someone that can work with you. Both of you can work on your attachment. I'm just saying if your attachment need is based upon something that's kind of rubbing up always with reality, we might just want to get in more rapport with reality, because that's probably going to serve everyone. Right? So if you knew crystal clear in your heart of hearts, it's not if he pulls away, it's when he pulls away. And when he pulls away, here's actually what I'm going to do. When he pulls away, I'm going to call my best friend. Or when he pulls away, I'm going to send him a quick voice message and just let him know, hey, I think you're taking a bit of time for yourself. I love that you do that. I miss you. I really look forward to you being back in connection. I don't need anything from you right now. If I really do, I'll give you an emergency call. But just enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to our date on Wednesday night. Right? Is there any version of that could be a true communication for you? And that you have some of these substitute behaviors when he pulls away, yeah, cool, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to call my girlfriend, I'm going to catch up with my siblings, or I'm going to have a girls' night out, or I'm going to have a night to myself, and I'm going to read that book. Like, kind of get your own things a little cultivated so that when that happens, you might also see that there's an opportunity there for you to fill up these other love buckets so that when you guys come back into connection, you're in a better place for it and the relationship benefits.